Hey everybody, John here. This is the Blue Water Outlook Weekly Weather Briefing, February 7th, and I will be talking about a change of our North American weather regime as we get into February and what that might mean to our weather. First off, here's our precipitation last week, rain and snow, and a pretty quiet week. I want to bring to your attention the western U.S. It's really an unusual situation on how dry it's been and how mild the winter's been. Now, the area that we've had some action last week was the North Carolina and surrounding states. Had a nor'easter that stayed offshore, brought that heavy snow, over a foot of snow in spots to North Carolina. Some lighter snow over the upper Midwest and Great Lakes. Now, if you want to see where snow's on the ground, this is where snow is currently on the ground down in this region. And what we have here is Byron from the USGS sent me this picture of Silverton, Colorado. Sort of really starkly shows that snow drought in the higher elevations of the Rockies. Many ski areas, unusually a record low amounts of snow. And look at Silverton, how little snow. And if you look at the map here, the lack of snow in the higher elevations of the Rockies. Okay, so what we have here is we take a look at the accumulated winter season severity index, and areas in purple with the recent cold snap is classified now as an extreme winter. And if you look at the western U.S., look at all the red dots. That's a mild winter. So we really have a very strong contrast. West, mild, east, extreme winter. So what we have going on here is you can see that here with that west. We had yesterday near record high temperatures in all these circles. Meanwhile, the eastern U.S., we have cold weather advisories posted. And for the week, the average, draw that line right through the middle of the nation. And in the western U.S., especially Montana, temperatures 15 to over 20 degrees above normal. Parts of Indiana and Ohio, surrounding states, 15 to 20 degrees colder than normal. And if you want to look at where the cold air was, anything in blue dropped below zero. Anything in purple, 10 degrees below zero or colder. Now, I mentioned a pattern change, and we're going to be shifting from a Greenland high North America weather regime to a Pacific ridge. That's the blue, and it's going to be pretty strong probability and lasting right through probably the middle to the latter part of February, actually most of February, once we shift into that. And this is the type of pattern we get in a Pacific ridge right here. Here's our Pacific ridge. So what we do is the western U.S. that's been unusually mild is going to experience this dip in the jet stream. It's going to cool off. And the east is going to get, the central and eastern U.S. will get finally a reprieve in spots. Now the caveat here is that the northeast U.S. could see some lingering cold for a while. So here's a current jet stream. Anything in the red, the jet stream's bowing to the north, generally mild weather. And take a look at this dip in the jet stream in the east. It is cold in that region. And a week from now, next Saturday, here's our Pacific ridge. Here's our dip in the jet stream out in the west. So that's going to bring in the cooler air. And then in this region where that jet stream's bowing to the north, that'll be bringing the milder air. Now, a couple things here. Look at all the red. So you can see the transition here. This is the Pacific ridge right here, up here, and then you can see how the western U.S. has cooled off. Central remains warm. But this cool air here, if you're in the northeast U.S., it's going to take a while. It's sort of ingrained in here, and it's going to linger. It's going to be one of these cold that's frustrating because you're going to be hearing how such a large part of the middle U.S. has mild weather. Matter of fact, take a look at temperatures this week. We're looking at 70s anywhere here, 60s and 70s in the lighter shades of yellow and orange. Meanwhile, look how this cold air lingers in the 20s in New England. Okay, so that's temperature. Let's talk about rain and snow. A couple things. The Pacific Northwest looks pretty active with some atmospheric river focused flow on the northwest U.S., mainly the coast and higher elevations. The other thing to sort of bring to your attention is this area of precipitation right here, and that's going to be falling over an area in drought. So that'll be a needed rain. It's going to be welcome. It's going to recharge the upper soil moisture. So that's generally a positive rain. What about snow? Not much, considering we're in snow season. Still no significant snow over most of the Rockies. The Cascades looks like we get some snow in those areas, and perhaps the northern Rockies could get some snow. But other than that, Colorado just don't see much at all. And pretty much maybe some New England snow, maybe some Great Lakes snow, but even there, no organized systems, no panhandle hooks. Really, we have not had. It's been very unusual. We've had a lot of these clipper systems here that have come sort of across here. We had last week that nor'easter, but those classic systems that sort of come out of the southwest and sort of pull up here produce the more seasonal snow. And speaking of that, I'm working on a post on the spring snowmelt outlook coming out this week or next, but sort of the hint, there's not much snow on the ground, so it's looking pretty low probability right now. Okay, so next 2 weeks, let's look at 6 to 10 and 8 to 14 areas in red. We've switched over here. Here's our cooler weather in the west. Here's our milder weather. And looks like the southwest U.S. best chances for rain. Maybe a better chance in the 6 to 10 day here, maybe. We'll see. And then this is just for your interest. Here's weeks 3 and 4. So, in summary, if you're in the west, you've had some really nice weather. That's going to get back to winter. If you're in the central U.S., it hasn't been too bad, and it's going to get better. And you're in the eastern U.S., it's been pretty rough, and it looks like it will be improving a bit in most areas over the next week or so. That's this week's briefing. Have a great week.